What up, y'all?
What's up? What's up? What it do, baby?
Bring the Smoke podcast, season 2.
Ooh, what up, y'all?
Season 2. We're back in the house, baby.
The new, recently named Cocourth boys.
Who held the block? The block is hot.
Cocourth gang. Okay,
Yeah.
so the unofficial Cocourth gang boys.
Gang.
Yeah.
We in the house, man.
Cocourth Gang Boys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hashtag.
Hashtag Cocourth
A
gang.
long hashtag.
That is.
I hear they like it long. That's the word of the street. That's the word of the street.
But yeah, it's your boy Trey in the building with the homie Jay.
What up? What up? What it do, baby?
Punisher Jake on the mic.
Howdy, y'all.
Hey.
And of course, the fire marshal is laced up.
About to be.
Super laced.
Yeah, man. New
He's
Year.
tripping.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, people.
Happy New Year, fellas.
Man.
Happy New Year.
We're in the house. We're in the building. A lot of new shisha has come my way.
Oh, yeah.
Woo, man.
You know,
I got a lot of
Jay has
shout-outs.
been.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I got to ask, do y'all have any resolutions? New year, new you, what's going on?
Yeah.
I think, a collective resolution is to try to push the podcast forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it be, logos, potential merch on the horizon, and just getting better and better. That's what we continue to do,
Yeah, man. I've been trying to push us out on Reddit. I've been soon the Instagram's gonna be loaded.
Soon, Facebook's up.
Okay.
We're gonna start posting the episodes on there.
Smoke on Facebook.
Yeah, Bring the Smoke on Facebook. So add us on there.
Yeah, we'll leave the taglines for our social media down below the video.
My resolution is to participate.
Oh, hey, we appreciate that, man. We appreciate you
I
coming
got you,
through.
I got
Yeah, that's a good-
It started with a conversation and a production meeting 10 minutes before we were about to record. We're like, you know what? Let's get this guy on the mic.
it's hot. It's
For
hot.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But, I think personally, resolutions is always, still advance at work. I can always be better. Wife and I are in the process of purchasing our first home, so I would like to see that through.
Yeah.
Bill.
But,
Adult
also,
moves.
one of the things that last year that I always said that I was going to do better and just never came around was, spending more time with you guys. We all work a lot. We don't seem to be, using our free time the way we want to. Our free time is usually bogged down with other stuff that we're not doing.
Yeah, and I think we all have this passion for music.
Yeah.
And to be able to chop it up and sit down and talk about music just reinvigorates me further to, be successful in what we're doing here.
Yeah. And I mean, we get together and talk music on, on the podcast and things like that. But, I would like to have a roast session that's not recorded to where we don't have to make each other cry after post-production.
Yeah, man. I want to get more, any fans that want to join us on the Discord. We have certain channels set up where you can drop music in and share music with us if that's what you want to do. Because we can't listen to everything.
Yeah.
We can't listen to everything.
Well, no, we try to listen to everything, but trust me, this is the Bring the
Trey
Smoke
listens to
podcast.
everything.
You will get smoked if you
This
put some
is the
garbage
Bring
in
the
there.
Smoke podcast. So if you bring something that is a dud, we'll take it outside and East Texas burn it in a barrel.
We shouldn't do things the East Texas way.
There's certain things we can't do the East Texas way, but for the purpose of this podcast, we can burn in the barrel.
Y'all better watch out for Trash Man Trey. He will take you out back.
Beep, beep.
And smoke
reverse.
you. Yeah. And smoke you. Yeah. Let me get on the shisha that I've been on. Like, I have a slew of shisha that I've recently tried. Can
you say that 5 times fast?
A slew of shisha. Well, I've hit up some of my favorites. I touched down on some lemon pie from Trifecta. I've got some lime spice peach from Sir Bentley, one of my favorites, and mix those two together and you have some perfect smoke. So all my people on Reddit that have seen me drop comments in there, you gotta mix those two together, throw in the Lotus Bowl. It's perfect smoke.
What was that one you let me smell earlier? Because that thing smelled unearthly. It smells so good.
It was a lime spice peach. Lime spice peach. So badly. They have some good. They have some good flavors, and they have some bad. That American cake.
Ooh. Yeah,
delicious.
let's extinguish that
no
flavor.
Smoke. No smoke for that one.
There's no smoke to be brought for that flavor.
Yeah.
Oh.
We were at the hookah lounge, kind of brainstorming about, season 2, and we had just finished the lemon pie, and we were talking about how good it was, and Jay's like, I think this bowl's done. Let's go ahead and get the next one. And, we got it started. We looked at each other and like, yo, you trying to bounce? Like the session was over before it started.
Yo, my man's came through and he took a puff of that, and he's a pro smoker. Coughed immediately and was like, no.
He's like, what is this? Yeah, don't bring this back.
It's like if you want to smoke caramel popcorn, that's the way it tastes, and it's just not good.
Hey, that's a Christmas tradition.
Yeah, it's a Christmas tradition that should not be shared. It's like that.
It's an East Texas one.
I can't accept that you've never been to East Texas.
Yeah, so we're gonna leave that one on the shelf.
But yeah, no, we had what was it? The pineapple.
Oh, the pineapple iced tea from Trifecta.
Yeah, that was another good flavor that we were experimenting with and trying to. We try the flavors by themselves, and then we kind of start to brainstorm about what mixes with this, what will complement it. Jay's been smoking hookah a little bit longer than myself, so he's more of a complex flavor chaser. So I kind of looked at him. He's like, "What is this sound?" I mean, it's only 3 flavors: it's lemon pie, limoncello, lime lit. Yeah, that's typically where he goes down. So,
don't forget my lemon cake, man.
Oh yeah, the lemon cake. But even the lemon cake is a compilation of 3 flavors before we found the actual lemon cake.
Yeah, man, it was 6. It was like limoncello, vanilla, French vanilla, coconut, but Sir Bentley came out with one that made it much easier. It's just lemon cake by itself. Well, thank God for that.
Yo, I just gotta say though, complex flavor chaser, that's a euphemism for
Hashtag complex flavor chaser.
But the other thing that's been added to the podcast is you were blessed with a little New Year's present. Was it the BHO?
The BYO.
BYO, excuse me.
The BYO is amazing hookah. It's a large base, so you're going to have to fill that thing full of water. I take it to the lounge. Everybody's like, good Lord, that's a large base. But when they smoke from it, I'm like, damn, this shit smokes good.
Yeah, very good. Now, since we've had a few sessions on it already, does it beat the hookah out? Or the wooka, excuse me?
Nothing beats the wooka. I it's hard. Until I get my hands on a B2, I don't think anything's going to beat that wooka.
I think, because we were having some trouble with it the other night, but I think we've kind of come up where it smokes good, very smooth. And, also we're, a lot of gang going on. We got the Cocourth gang boys. We got the complex flavor chasers, and now we are the Lotus boys.
Yes, man, all of that, it makes for great smoke. So you gotta have the right coals, right shisha, right bowl, right hookah. It's more than a trinity. I don't know what you would call it. I'm gonna look to Jake for that.
A quadrinity?
Yes, there it is.
I gotta say something I do like about this being a clumsy person is that it has a lot of wide features.
Yeah. So it's no spillage there. It has a wide tray there, a tempered glass. So that's really nice. So good.
I don't even need to make a pun about that.
Eye contact was all we needed to do right there, Jake.
Oh man, so
we like some thick.
Yeah,
it's all about that bass.
It's
God,
no treble.
No, it's a thick boy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you that. And Trey inspired me to get the backpack from Mount Falker. I think they make a nice backpack to carry all your hookah equipment in, and I mean it packs so much in that backpack.
Yeah, it makes it easy to carry, easy to tear down, assemble, and when you had the KM, you were just kind of rolling around with the box, but you could see the box can be cumbersome. So
yeah, that box is large, long. Hey Zach, it's a E-Reg. The back to our old UPS days when we worked at UPS, like oddly shaped boxes. They were called E-regs. So that's a throwback right there.
Yeah.
Man.
I feel like we're all a little E-reg, you know?
We're on the
Treated me
scale.
like a soldier.
Yeah, so a lot of new product. There's so many other flavors that I've gotten that we haven't tried yet. I was blessed to go down to San Antonio, and there was a nice hookah lounge there that has an amalgam of different flavors on their list. The place is called Hookah Harem, and that is a great lounge if you ever find yourself in San Antonio wanting to enjoy some nice hookah in a chill place. They have various consoles set up there. You can sit back, lounge, play some Xbox, Switch, or whatever. The staff there is great. I've been speaking highly of them. So definitely make your next trip to San Antonio, hit up that place, and you'll be very satisfied. Very satisfied there. But off of the shisha, I mean, I can go.
Well, you know, before you get off the shisha, you know, make sure to shout out our boys that hold the production meetings.
Oh yeah, I gotta shout out to my favorite place in Austin, Hookah Buzz.
Of course.
Definitely hit that spot up. It's my favorite place, hands down. The staff there is great. If you're a regular, they'll let you bring in your own shisha. They'll let you bring your own hookahs. And that's not very standard for a lot of places. Mm-hmm. And they still cater to you. Great prices there. My boy, I'm gonna mention him. Shout out to Sana. He's there. He is a great member of that place, and he'll definitely hook you up with some flavors and smoke that you will be very happy with. So just tell him, what do you want to smoke? And he'll mix you a flavor that'll blow your mind.
Well, you know, the other thing too is, you know, I haven't been to as many hookah joints as you've kind of stepped into, but one thing I can say about them is, you know, obviously the customer service can be up and down depending on how busy they are, but I think that's pretty standard for most hookah lounges. But, you know, very chill spot. BYOB, which I think is a huge thing, you know, and that they don't really charge you for, you know, a kind of a setup fee or anything like that. So that's one of the things I think we always continue, like, you know, hey, let's just go out there, you know, that way you don't have to worry about coals. It's a good environment. You know, the last couple of times we've gone, the playlists, you know, have gotten better and better. And, you know, from Thursday night, you know, they had a pretty good Cudi playlist they had going on in there.
It was like Cudi Kanye. Yeah, I was like, ooh, this is hot. Like Trey came in.
Kids See Ghosts?
Oh yeah, I mean,
of course.
Yeah, Trey came in from outside on a phone call. They were playing Mojo So Dope when he came in.
We caught a vibe. Caught a vibe.
Major wave. We were surfing some waves.
Yeah, but you know, it's so like I said, just want to shout out Hookah Buzz. They've definitely, you know, supported us. You know, we do have a playlist over there that, you know, it's in the rotation, and, you know, we're hoping to, you know, continue with our playlist suggestions and, you know, get that out. So the music that we talk about, you know, we're going to be trying to curate playlists that go along with episodes.
Absolutely. One of my big things to do this year is to set us up on Spotify as well.
I would love to help with that.
Yeah.
Be careful when you say that, though, because then you could just take full responsibility for it.
I will absolutely take full responsibility.
Yeah, that's going to be Jake's project.
So, but yeah, we're you know, that's in the works, and
Recorded.
I got responsibilities.
didn't even know he wanted them until he said that.
Yeah, it's on
You
my
said playlist. I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Definitely. He is I thought myself as a playlist king, but
I'm a playlist fiend.
making it rhyme too. Ooh. Oh, hot. It's hot in here.
But yeah, man, let's get into the show, man. So, you know, we have quite a few topics to talk about. I want to start off with the Jay-Z, Yo Gotti, you know, I guess lawsuit that they are potentially prepping for through the Mississippi jail or prisons within the state. You know, seems to be understaffing, and they're not being managed the way that other prisons across the country, you know, tend to staff. And so, you know, you do have inmates that are sleeping on floors, rat infestation, and things like that. And while these inmates are, you know, incarcerated and, you know, kind of getting the help they need from in certain areas, you know, we are still talking about people who deserve certain rights, and sleeping on the floor in prison may seem like an appropriate thing for some, but I mean, when you spend most of your day in the cell, I'm not saying they need to be laying around in lazy boys, but I feel like they do need the bare necessities. So Yo Gotti and Jay-Z got together and, just really trying to be a voice for those who can't, speak for themselves. And, their influence, definitely carries some weight.
It's definitely much needed because I get that you were incarcerated, you've done some bad things, but at the same time, you should still be treated like a human. And at the same time, I also want to say prison is supposed to be rehabilitation.
Of course.
I was about to bring that up.
For people. And I don't think those conditions will technically support rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that, you should be living like a king up in prison, but you should have certain chances
amenities.
Amenities to when you get out, you can become a better person.
Yeah.
And those certain types of conditions aren't conducive to helping rehabilitate a person.
Well, criminal justice reform is something that's very much needed in this country. We all know it. It's in multiple areas. Obviously, in my opinion, we shouldn't be putting people in jail for nonviolent drug issues. Also, the fact that you can't vote if you have a felony.
Yeah. Unless you're in Florida now. They've changed that in Florida, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But,
But, I'm glad this is happening on some level, that some people are still pushing this change. Go Jay-Z.
Go Jay-Z.
I mean, this is also just the power of social media,
Sorry for the mic.
If we were, this is the power of social media. So, if we were, still in the age of our daily periodicals, you might have missed the story and it probably could have just
missed this story.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on in the world, man. In between our break, right?
So I mean, this is just another, an advantage of social media. The story is able to circulate and it can reach the right people and it becomes a movement in itself. And, like I said, while they are incarcerated, that doesn't mean that they're not citizens of this country and that they, don't deserve any less. Exactly. Yeah. So, I'm looking, they're threatening the lawsuit. They're obviously giving the state to address the issues that they have, whether it's consolidating, prisoners so that they can better support the jail system in the state. But, while they're not officially bringing forth a lawsuit, but this is just a letter that they said, we want to bring awareness to this issue. And if it takes legal action, we do have the resources to do so. So, kind of a minor threat.
Definitely something to follow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Moving on to the next topic.
Oh, yeah. So we got
some good news.
Oh, of course. Akon is making Wakanda a real thing.
Akon City.
Akonda.
Akon City in Senegal. Akon was very prominent in the early 2000s with hip hop. It was like Nate Dogg. You couldn't hear a rap song without Akon on the hook, right?
Of course.
Yeah, he was.
Well, don't forget, Locked Up. Conveniently enough, was his original lead single, and he's had a couple. I mean, I would say he's had probably about a handful of hits that have really made him a standout. R&B
hip hop
music
star,
was
hot, man.
Of course. Well, one of his biggest discoveries. Anyone know who that is?
I do on the tip of my tongue. I just can't.
Lady Gaga. He discovered Lady Gaga.
I did not know that.
I thought it was a rap artist too. Another rap.
Well, so he had what is it? Cardinal Official. Cardinal Official? I want to say he had a hit single, but he originally had discovered Lady Gaga.
Wow.
On her first single, I believe it's Just Dance, you can hear convict music at the beginning of the track. Right. So she was originally signed because she could not get signed. And then the first debut album was such a smash. I believe she got picked up by Def Jam, I want to say. Or not Def Jam. I can't remember who she's signed with now. But I mean, obviously she was able to take from a small label to a major label, and she's now one of the
Gaga.
top.
Wow.
So, again, Akon's influence within the music industry.
Yeah, man. Akon has done so much for Senegal. Solar power. He owns some diamond mines in South Africa, which is a big deal. Those, that's where a lot of the blood diamonds were coming from. So he's cleaned up a lot of that going forward. He's and so much more. I think he's
well.
done,
Remember I want to say that was probably early 2010, where he actually brought electricity to, I think it was a small village that he was able to bring some stability in the region. So this is just kind of leading off with what he originally did for his country.
Yeah, good. Shout outs to him. Definitely, I'll be looking at that place in the next 5 to 10 years. May even become a travel destination. Senegal sits right on West Africa. There's beaches there, so you're gonna just imagine what they can do. I hope that there are some other hip hop artists that will invest in what he's doing and really make that a place for colored people to be able to travel to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not just colored people, just making it a travel destination that's more appealing to the masses. Another big issue that comes with all this is, looks like cryptocurrency will be the prime
coin.
Yeah.
Hey, what's it called? Akon?
Yeah, and believe it or not, that was not a pun. That was actually that is actually the name of the currency.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah, so
It's a pun that I didn't come up with.
you didn't.
he didn't do it.
You seem mad about it.
That was a layup. That was a layup.
It feels fake.
If Jake didn't make it, it feels fake.
But yeah, it's, the currency is supposed to be taking into effect in February, and like I said, it's just another major move that he's made in the series of using his influence in order to do good for the world.
Yeah, I mean, the guy has come out and said he wants a United States of Africa.
Yeah,
That's huge. I think that should have been a thing that we've been working toward for a long time. But I know there's powers at hand that don't want to see that happen.
absolutely.
Well, I think, this is going to cause a domino effect, as the city is going to be run on like sustainable energy. It's going to be built from the ground up. It's going to be like a first in a lot of ways. It's going to be a blueprint for other people to do in the future in other areas of Africa. And I think, because Africa, for the most part, doesn't have a lot of infrastructure, this is going to be a lot easier to implement green technology than, say the United States, where we have to tear down existing infrastructure before rebuilding, with green technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I believe, just to add on to what you say, I think
supply a lot of energy.
absolutely. So it's
Solar panels in the Sahara Desert, that's game changer right there.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes.
Just need the sunlight, man. At the end of the day. Yeah.
So, but try to shift gears, into the music. We have
Get to it.
a lot of music has dropped.
Back to life, back to reality.
You
was
went
for
there,
you,
man. That was for you.
Yeah.
Oh.
But we've had quite a few releases just within this last Friday. The big one that we were kind of anticipating was Mac Miller. So
Such
RIP
good
Mac.
news there, right?
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I should leave that to Jake.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that one.
5-minute pun suspension for Jay's mic right there.
No,
Send
you
me to
are
the
always
penalty.
allowed to make a pun.
Send me to the penalty
Red
box.
flag.
Green flag. Raindrop.
Jake's
drop
encouraging
top.
me. Don't encourage. Trey's like, don't encourage him. He's terrible
Hey,
at it.
Jay,
Yeah.
you're not alone anymore.
Oh yes, that's true.
But the album Circles,
Tag team
which
back
they
again.
they sent the single Bad News, which was very. So the album for me is, I want to say it's, to me, I listen to this project and I get a strong vibe that it's a goodbye letter. I don't know if anyone else picked that up. Like,
No, it was very, like the end of something.
Yes.
Yeah, very epilogue. Like,
yeah, it's just, but it's one thing, like, it's, we, all of us, have lost someone close to us, and, part of the stages of grief is, being able to revisit, items, whether it be, letters, whether it be old photographs, just to kind of put our minds at peace that while the person is no longer with us, we still have so much stuff that is around us that reminds. And for artists, they have their music. And so with this album, to me, is kind of his farewell, saying, hey, I know it's tough to see me go, but I just want to let you know that I'm fine. You'll be fine. And, he kind of reinforces that throughout the album. He gives us, his signature style. But, I've even, after listening to the album, I like to kind of watch reaction videos from a few people. And there was one in particular where he was very emotional about the project because he said that his death, Mac Miller's death, was just really unresolved for him because, for maybe some millennials and maybe some early Gen Z fans, you really got to see his career progress from being kind of like a reality TV star, push his debut album, Blue Side Park, into the mainstream. It had the success, and then, they do the Cribs. So you kind of see him grow right in front of your eyes. So for this particular generation to see him kind of go through his transition through life and then his ultimate demise, a lot of fans are kind of left, with questions, things like that. And I think this album really kind of wraps everything up. And while it's not Swimming, which I feel like is his best project to me,
Swimming was amazing.
This is an album to, to kind of, say his farewell. And I thought the producers and everyone involved with the project did a very good job of really trying to capture the moment of the vibe of this project. I feel like it's real spacey. It's real harmonious. It's a celebration of life, but at the same time, it's a homecoming ceremony, So
yeah, for me, it hit a little different. It felt like a continuation of Swimming. Like he was in the deep end swimming at this point, and the album felt very melancholy compared to my favorite album, which is Good AM.
Okay.
I say Blue Side Park is my favorite, but Good AM is a good second, and I feel like Good AM had a little more upbeat to it.
Yeah.
And
Also had a little more downbeat to it.
Yeah.
True.
It
I
hit
think
higher highs and lower lows, I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that continuation finished that Swimming for me. Like you said, it ended that story that he was going on a good note. I enjoyed the album very much. I listened to it probably 2 or 3 times Friday, and had a coworker stop by and we chatted about it, and I was like, yo man, it's gonna tug at your strings a little bit, I think. And it definitely did that for me. If people dealing with a lot of mental health issues, and you can hear that in his music, and it touched me in a very, very strong manner.
See, 2 things for me. One, it does hit pretty close to home. Mac Miller was a year older than me. So it's like I went to high school with people like him, and I would have gone to high school with him if I lived in that area. And I saw him come up, and it was very, very relatable. He went through the things that my generation or my little sub-generation went through, and it hurt. It really hit home. But also, to your point that it was a goodbye, Mac Miller, this wasn't a suicide. It was an accidental overdose. His stuff just had a little too much fentanyl in it, and he died. He had no wanting to pass at that point.
Nah, yeah.
But I think it's, a lot of times we talk about artists who have, kind of an infatuation with death or, post-life.
And especially Mac Miller, he was obsessed with the 27 Club in particular. You hear it in a lot of his songs, and he didn't even reach 27. He died at age 26.
Yeah. So, with these artists, kind of glorifying, that camp, to me, I always feel like it's not necessarily
Almost a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, and I think some of the songs, especially on Swimming, kind of,
Yeah. He was in a very
foreshadowed.
dark place during Swimming.
Which I feel like what makes that album beautiful to me is because I think everyone feels that way. Especially like the intro track to that album, I think is just, people wanting to just kind of stop the ride, kind of sit down, gather their thoughts without having to listen to the noise. And I just think it's such a relatable track. But at the same time, you really can kind of hear the struggle, the internal struggle that he has, with, it could have been, the earlier of his drug addiction,
Right.
and things like that. And so this album, with it being, after his death, there's a lot of stuff that kind of gets mashed together, and so I feel like a lot of the material was kind of throwaways from swimming. So I think that's why it has a swimming vibe.
Well, apparently this project was meant to be a spiritual successor to swimming. It was kind of meant to follow along. Some might have been cut, but I think for the most part it was meant to be kind of a follow-up to swimming. And you can kind of tell it's like he's dragged himself out of that dark place. And he's looking back and he's tired, but he's okay with everything.
Absolutely.
He's accepted everything.
And one thing for me is that I think the instrumentals do a great job of trying to literally palette that.
Yeah, when we were getting ready to record, I played Good News. And I was like, hey, guys, did you notice that song Good News feels like it samples Nothing from Nothing? And
had no idea until you brought it up.
Played the tracks. I was like, man, when I was listening to that song, I was like, man, this sounds like something that I've heard before. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And I went digging around. I was like, yo, that sounds like Nothing from Nothing. Of course, it's slowed down a little bit and it's a little more melodic than that. It's just a small sample of that track. So
I mean, are you sure it's actually sampled, or are you just getting Nothing from Nothing? I'm sorry, that joke means nothing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. If it's true or not, I went digging around Friday to try to find it, and of course I went to Reddit, and some people had the same thought that I had, and a lot of people were like, yo, that's Nothing from Nothing. And I'm like, oh, okay. And a couple of Lady Gaga tracks and some other, but I feel like they all sampled from Nothing from Nothing. And it makes sense from, what he was trying to say on the album to even sample that record too. Yeah.
Well, so now my next question for you guys is, because Mac Miller is no longer with us, but his popularity, is going to continue to get strong. This generation, your generation, Jake is going to, keep his music going and his memory.
Absolutely.
But, much like a generation before that came up ahead of me, Tupac released more post-death albums than he made when he was alive.
That became a meme before memes were memes.
Absolutely.
Tupac was still alive.
Yeah. It's like, how is he able to produce this so much?
So, are you guys on board with a kind of compilation of verses and, kind of like a lost tapes type of
Honestly,
releases and stuff like that?
That's going to be up to his family to release that.
Well, no, I get that it's up for his family, but like, are you here for like more
developed by Mac?
Because the thing is, what separates Mac Miller from someone like Prince, who obviously lived a longer life, but he had stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of music that was mixed and mastered and things like that. He just didn't release it. He always had albums on deck. So the family of Prince, they've now started to do unreleased live releases and things like that. Obviously, Mac Miller had several live performances. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of concept, songs that he maybe produced or recorded, didn't make the cutting room floor. He didn't really drop mixtapes, for a hip hop artist like himself and not have mixtapes out, so there's a lot of stuff that's probably, a verse
hidden
here
away.
And stuff, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he's recorded things with other people that
exactly. So, and that's my point. Are you, even though the tracks will be dated, because you can kind of see where he was, with some of the verses. Are you guys on board with a lost tapes or like kind of a mashup?
Always, from a quality artist like that, I think I'm always down for music posthumous. Like,
Exactly.
like that.
Like I'm always up for, new things coming from a great artist, but you have to understand it's going to be a product of its time. It's not new music.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And I always feel like it so with Notorious B.I.G., he has two albums. Well, two albums that he actually recorded that he knows that were released.
Right.
His Born Again and a few other projects that kind of leaked out. Those just don't have the same sound that, he was known for. So therefore they don't really, I don't listen to Born Again I'm more of a Ready to Die and Life After Death guy when it comes
Which
to.
one is Sky's the Limit on?
That's on Life After Death.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite Biggie Smalls song.
Nice. Jay, what's your favorite?
Oh man, I gotta go with the classic Juicy, man.
Juicy?
Yeah, it just reminds me back in the day, rolling with the boys and trying to pick up ladies.
So I have, and it's
Very
a
well who you are.
it's a dark song, but I just really kind of love the, it's a song that kind of releases a lot of anxiety and stress. For me is obviously everyday struggle, because I feel like people feel like that sometimes. But on a more upbeat, I would say Sky's the Limit, or Love Big Papa.
My second is 10 Commandments, man.
10 Crack Commandments.
Yeah.
I mean, Ready to Die as a whole album, is very much like one of the best albums I've heard. It's definitely in my top 10.
Yeah. That was a
Give me the loot.
Give me the loot. Yeah. Yes.
Zach, what about you? Nice.
Yeah, that's a classic, man. That's a great choice from the man.
I always drive into work blasting songs about robbing and shit, so that's right in my wheelhouse.
You like to do hood rat shit with your friends?
Yeah, that he does.
All right, to loop back around.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the top MCs.
Top MCs, decided that, this was a good week to drop a surprise album, and
out of nowhere.
Mr. Mathers is here.
Yeah.
Marsh, I think he goes by now.
What?
Named after the wetlands.
Okay. This is all news.
That is like a line that he dropped in the song Marsh on this album. Music to be Murdered by Eminem.
Yeah, opens up. I feel like this is old Slim Shady coming back to us, man. I think
It's a welcome return.
Jake made a excellent point. He said in 2015.
This would have been the best album of 2014.
Yeah.
I think this would have been the classic Eminem album. He would have been top of the game again. It just feels like a little too late in terms of like keeping relevant, but it's still a good album.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
I'd listen to this more than I listened to the Mac Miller. I think I was driving up to Zach's place just jamming this album, man.
I've been jamming circles since it came out.
Yeah, so it's a good album. There's maybe one or two tracks I would skip on here, but the production is definitely different.
Are you gonna skip your stepdad?
Yeah,
Come on.
that hook was not good. So
Better than Rap God.
I'm gonna let y'all get y'all's stuff out, and then I'm gonna come back. So y'all get everything y'all need out of this real quick.
D agree with me. I think probably E agree with me that this was a dope album. This was a dope project. The concept was fully formed there. It had some Alfred Hitchcock like essence in there. It was sort of like that horror rap at the beginning there. It
was the most cohesive thing he's put out in a long time.
I definitely think this was, for me, it was better than Kamikaze. A lot of people would
Miles
disagree with me, but I think it was definitely better than Kamikaze. Even all the haters that were coming at him, he had songs for them. I really enjoyed that. He gave Nick Cannon his beats. He gave was it MJK his a couple verses. He gave Jamar. That was giving
Young
him
M.A.
Yeah. His features on there were dope. Black Thought.
Anderson .Paak.
Black Thought was on there. Q-Tip. Then brought out Slaughterhouse again.
Ed Sheeran.
That song,
Joe.
Even that track was. I'm not the hugest Ed Sheeran fan, and even that track was fun for me. So I enjoyed the album very much.
Y'all done?
Here comes Trash Man.
Okay. So here's what I gotta say.
Yes, now
Hold on.
Wait. Okay, now.
Oh shit.
The bourbon is being poured a lot this evening. So here's the thing. I am an old school Marshall Mathers fan. Infinite is a raw album. Slim Shady.
He went way back.
Well, you got it. I'm starting there so I can make my point. So we've talked about this on the show before. Stop giving this guy power, stop giving him writing material, because he's only at his strongest when he has something to rap towards. And we'll talk about one of his victims on the album, Nick Cannon, a little bit further down the line.
Victims?
But
Yeah.
well, he takes it as, personal attacks when you go at him on wax and things like that. He made his name for himself as a battle rapper. So anytime that he smells beef, if there's blood in the water, that shark's going to come investigate. So, now his best stuff to me, and I think Zach and I agree, Marshall Mathers and Slim
best.
Shady.
Yeah.
Eminem Show is where you kind of start to see some of the decline. You know what I mean? However, with this album, like I said, there's a lot of material. He's being kind of talked about in ways, so it gives him material to write. Now, is it his best material?
No.
We can debate that. There's flashes of it. However, there are some interesting songs in here. You and I, or all four of us, were actually talking about Darkness, because it's in a way, I guess it's paying homage to the victims of the Vegas festival shooting, but it's making a stance about gun violence. It's kind of putting you through the mind of what it's like to probably experience it from maybe the shooter's perspective, but also the fans' perspective, which I thought was very interesting. But T.I., his albums, they're not as good as Urban Legend, trap music, and things like that. And it's not that it's hard to listen. For me, this is like watching Jordan play for the Wizards. You know what I mean? Like, he's past, like, we need to go ahead and throw the jersey in the rafters. And I mean, the jersey is in the rafters. So I don't know why we're continuing to get projects like this. I can appreciate them. I'm always going to check them out. But at the same time, I just feel like you're tarnishing your legacy a little bit, because there's more hits there's more misses than hits at this point. D was, in the Discord channel talking about, Eminem continuously, delivers quality. And I screenshotted the Revival cover, and I wanted to make sure that he
saw that.
Yeah, he saw that every album is quality, because Revival, I think all of us listened to it once, and I don't know too many of us that have replayed the album.
He spoke on that even on the album. He's like, y'all don't want Woke Me, and I give y'all Woke Me.
Well, and the other problem that I have with this,
I don't want Angry Me.
Well, and so I said I prefer clean shaven Marshall Mathers than the bearded Mathers.
I think bearded Mathers, he's a welcome change.
He is.
He's edgy. You don't know what he's gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked how he aligned himself with back when he was Aftermath and things like that. He got D12 on the map. He got 50 Cent signed, but he had quality.
Early 2000s anymore.
It isn't.
For me, this Marshall Mathers is the version of Dave Chappelle that we have now. He's not scared to still say some off the wall, off the cuff stuff that still resonates with some of America out there.
But see, here's the thing. Dave Chappelle's not rapping. He speaks on the state of the culture, and he still has the pen to write material that is still relevant. And I think at this point in Dave Chappelle's career, he's only getting better with each stand-up. This is not happening for Marshall Mathers.
Also, both of these guys you're mentioning are kind of at the point, or they reach the point where they're like almost too big to fail,
Yeah.
So they can finally like just do exactly what they want without like kind of transcending the method.
They don't need to sell records at this point.
Right.
They don't. But one of the things that I really have a hard time as a fan is he spent the first and second act of his career really kind of playing dissing popular music and not wanting to be in the scene and stuff like that. But like Jake and I were talking about, some of his biggest singles are with major pop artists. Rihanna, they have 2 songs together.
Watch It Burn, just like his career did.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's not that it's burning. I don't want to say it's burning, but for me, it's like you make such a.
It was withering for a while.
Yeah, and, you know, there was relapse. Then there was, you know, but then recovery came, and then there was.
We're taking snapshots of a person's life and what they're going through, though.
We are, but snapshots sometimes that those albums aren't as good as you know what I'm saying, and so that the albums
tell
aren't.
someone to stop making music.
No, you're not,
because you know
I've
done it before.
I want Marshall Mathers LP, the first LP. I want that quality of music.
I want to give him credit for trying to give music to get people off drugs. Like before, there was this whole wave of like, hey, stop doing these drugs, people. He tried. It just didn't resonate. It still doesn't resonate. I think he probably could have delivered it in a better package. If he could go back and revisit that, if he had a time machine, he could probably do it in a different light. But I think he was on to something before it actually came to fruition to a lot of other artists.
Well, true, but I think we talked about this in the last episode. You know, the generation that came up around Marshall Mathers 2, you know, those are the drug drug pushers. You know, we're in the drug user era, and so we have people. You know, my wife and I were talking about how Juicy J had tweeted, "If I encouraged anyone to use drugs, I apologize." And I'm sorry, when I was in high school, Stay High was a pretty big song. You know, I mean, the Oscar-winning 3 6 Mafia. Let me just point that out. I don't know if y'all remember it, if y'all forgot about that.
No.
But it's entertainment. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, while it is glorified in the industry, you know, maybe more than it needs to be, I don't feel like no one had to apologize for making a hit song. You know, there's Billie Jean, there's, you know, Papa Roach's Last Resort, there's songs like that. You know, I didn't, you know, if one person is going to apologize, then shouldn't everyone have to apologize for the songs that they made?
I think that was just a move that he felt like he needed to make some kind of.
Well, and I understand because, you know, obviously Juicy J, I believe, is in his late 40s, maybe even early 50s. I mean, Juicy J is an old man, but I mean, why, much like the state of a lot of things that happen now, apologizing for things that they did when they were young, naive, and I mean, they were hungry in the music industry. You're focusing on your craft. You want to be noticed, and
it was a sign of the times.
Exactly.
It's too late to apologize. Mm-hmm. It's too late.
It's never too late to apologize.
Sometimes nowadays, I feel like the apology is for those who are seeking it, though. You know.
Oh, ooh, fire marshal.
But are those apologies? I don't really know how to,
because that, you know, he probably understands that it could bring negative publicity.
Well, I mean, the other thing too is they have kids that are, you know, teenagers, you know, their early adult lives.
Ooh, something I wanted to bring up. Eminem's daughter is Gen Z.
Well, and so here's the thing too about that. So, you know, you notice that he doesn't really talk about, you know, killing the mother of his children and rape. And I don't want to say that he didn't really glorify rape at the time, but there are like rape-esque bars that he said before.
That's sexual assault. That's sexual assault. I know.
So, you know,
sexual harassment. I know.
As a father of a daughter, it might not be the greatest thing in the world to be rapping about a lyrical sexual assault, lyrical violence of the mother of your child, which at the same time is entertainment. It's never meant to be taken seriously, which we could talk about people who have blamed, you know, popular music as the cause of things like that.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of
all different media forms that show this stuff, and they don't have to apologize.
True. And I think it's up to, listen, I come from an era where, you know, when I wanted music, we went to the mall. We had to go pick it up. I had to hand that CD to the counter and purchase it. And, you know, I had a CD book, much like everyone had, and they'd flip through it. My parents would see that and be like, what is this with the pot leaf on it? I'm like, well, that's Dr. Dre, Chronic 2001. I was like, I don't think you need to be listening to this. And of course, you know, I'd hand it over, and then burn CDs happen, and then all of a sudden now all my stuff just says CDR on it.
That was the era I grew
CDRW.
up in, was the burning CDs era.
Absolutely. But, so nowadays, you don't really have that parental censorship that you used to because everything is on their phone. So if you have a phone, you have access to streaming music. And while there's a lot of, advantages to that, a lot of kids who maybe not be able to extinguish entertainment from reality, they are left to kind of like defend for themselves, and it's not necessarily
Feel
the
like you have
best.
to put that PSA at the beginning of any song that you do, like Redman had to do with Slap.
Which we were watching the Slap the Shit Out You video, and he gave a disclaimer before. But again, I know because of the the parody rap phase that we kind of grew up on. You can tell by listening to the song, it's reinforced when you watch the video that this is a joke.
Yes.
It is not meant to be taken seriously. You're not going to be slapping adults, grandmas and grandpas. I mean, it just...
I mean, beyond
babies.
beyond that, without even going that far, that's like, I know that because I can distinguish fiction from reality. And like, obviously, the way he is putting it, and, visually and through the song, it's like hyperbole almost. It's like
but it takes all that so that makes sure that they don't be... They're not misrepresented by something that's clearly a joke.
Yeah.
And that's my overall point. Like, this is entertainment. It's a concept. It's a song.
It's storytelling.
Yeah.
It's storytelling.
No one
That's all
expects
hip-hop
anyone to walk
is.
around slapping the shit out of people. You want to,
Yeah.
but then that's, you think about it in your head, but that's something, we're adults, we have reason, we have logic. Like, it just don't do that. Some people deserve that shit though. I don't condone violence, but there are some people you just want to slap the shit out of.
Yeah. So,
In the Oval Office.
it's to the point where you make a song, people are like, I love this song. But then you have the people who's like, this is inappropriate. You can't just go around slapping people for, asking for autographs at your tour bus and things. And that's what I'm getting at. It's like, it's clearly a joke. There's a video to back up that it's a joke. Most of Eminem's videos were, with the exception of Stan, Superman, Way I Am, Cleaning Out My Closet, those, he usually started off with, it was a fun video. It was a parody about what was going on, in the music industry at the time, which I do think that this album is a reflection of everything from his last Kamikaze drop, like talking about the issues, kind of giving us a year in review, kind of about the country and the state of what we're doing and things like that. But at the same time, nothing that he's saying makes me want to go out and do the practices that he raps about in his album, which seems to be a problem,
Nothing in this album made me want to go out and murder people.
I don't think y'all are the type that would be influenced by it, though. It's a different audience that might be influenced by it.
I grew up with his music, and none of it ever made me. No, when Purple Hills didn't make me want to pop pills.
But
I was thinking more the alt-right might.
also to add to Trey's point, like, where's the end of that? Because they're making music. Like, there's, shows that have extremely violent tendencies and stuff, and
people fight.
and it's the other thing too is
okay. Let it go.
It's not just hip hop too. I know we're a hip hop podcast, but it's not just hip hop that refers to this stuff. But at the same time, when we have kids and we find their whatever music device that they're listening to, and you look at it, I mean, I don't expect my kids to have 12 gigs of Casey Musgraves or
question where your kids are listening to.
I mean, like I said, I will censor them with age appropriate content, but at the same time, one thing that was good about my parents was like, yo, this is fake, right? This is a joke.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You just want to reaffirm. And again, I've said this before, parenting at the house, you don't have to micromanage kids. I feel like, but you do have to make sure that they are walking a straight and narrow path and being able to think for themselves, appreciate things for what they are. And, it's entertainment.
operate in reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what are some of your favorite tracks off the album? So,
like I said, I think Darkness is very. I like the concept of that one. I will. You wrote that on there. It was another good track.
I felt that was like Slim Shady at his best. He had Royce da 5'9" on a couple tracks, and it seemed whatever track that Royce was on brought out the best Eminem version for me. And I Will ended the album on the perfect note, and the production throughout the album was, like I said, much better than I'm accustomed to hearing him. He even talks about that, like how the fans are pulling him in different directions and want him to pick better beats, and I can see that he sort of listened to that a little bit.
Well, and that's one of the things that Lord Jamar and DJ Vlad they did a poll that some of the best MCs, in Nas and Eminem, while they have, the lyrical pen is strong, their beat selection has never been top tier. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of great a lot of great verses that they have, but it is a terrible beat.
Well, that's why he worked really well with Trey, because Trey was able to, produce.
But even like a super producer like Dr. Dre is more than capable of duds. You know what I mean?
True.
And he has the option. Listen, if you're an artist, obviously one of the high points of people's careers, like, I was just glad I could work with Timberland, or I was glad that, Swiss Beats, was able to find the time and stuff like that. But when at the level he's at, he can actually take his time, especially with a surprise album like that. We didn't know this was coming out until it popped up. Mm-hmm. So I when Eminem produces for himself, like I was saying earlier before we recorded, he likes more of like the old rock instrumentals, which I feel like some of those Sing for the Moment, yeah, I think is a great song. Obviously it samples Aerosmith, but he can be like a Kanye where he can,
yeah, you can hear that stuff on like Toy Soldiers, his beats that he selects and or produces for himself that really shine through for his cadence and style, especially when he's slowing down his bars a little bit. I noticed when he makes his own beats that his cadence is slower than it normally would be on someone else's beat.
Yeah. So, like I said, I appreciate the the features that he had. Slaughterhouse, like I said, minus Joe Budden. Be interested to hear Joe Budden in this era of hip hop.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the podcast
he does
coming.
take a lot of flack nowadays because of his podcast and his social media presence, but he's retired from rap, and I respect that he stays away from the mic like he does, or from the lyrical mic that he does.
Yeah.
I would have thought by now someone would have drug him to the point where it's like, I still do this. I just,
Yeah.
Black Thought, which, anytime I see that name, I'm going to check out the track. And if the track's good, it usually spills into me checking out the rest of the artist's project.
At the best verse on the album.
Yeah. Anderson .Paak, AP, and then Young M.A. I know that, she gets a bad rap, but I feel like she's one of the few female rappers out there that's really, minus a couple innuendos that I just can't really deal with anymore, but she's a lyrical monster in herself too.
Yeah, so Slim to recognize that too says something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Track, second track on the album.
But yeah, and then Juice WRLD's on there. R.I.P. Juice WRLD, and then Q-Tip. That was another verse that it's interesting because back in the day, Q-Tip would not be an artist that I feel like you would have seen on a Eminem album. And again, it shows the growth of an artist and how he's able to kind of pick up major stars now. So
yeah, the production on that track fit for a Q-Tip verse, so that was nice to see.
Yeah, and the other thing too, which I was going to say, is Dr. Dre seems to have his hand in a lot of these tracks. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
beats are scale of 1 to 10.
Probably 7.
Yeah, I was thinking about 6 or 7.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah. So and Dr. Dre, I mean, that's 7 to 8 is usually his production, grade that I'd give him.
See, something, I don't know if we have time to talk about it here, but something I really want to talk to y'all about is trap music and how long you think trap music's going to stay on top. before something else really fully takes its place.
Atlanta's gonna come through with a whole new wave, so you got to be prepared for.
Like Lizzo, nothing like trap music, completely different style, and I think that's more of the style that's going to be big. And I think the era of trap beats is maybe coming to an end.
Yeah, I'm just so interested because I feel strongly that a lot of these artists, like I've said before on the show, there's an infatuation with being like a 1 to 2 hit wonder, and I don't think a lot of these songs are going to age well. You know, one thing that I can say about my generation of hip hop, we aged pretty well.
Oh, that golden era is untouchable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the reason why we have the albums that.
But that goes back to that boom bap and that jazz.
It is, you know, and I just don't think that this mumble rap, slurred rap, the auto tune. You know, I listened to Bartender by T-Pain. It sounds a little cheesy in 2020. You know,
I still love that song unabashedly.
So, you know, like I said, I just want to.
Oh, he can sing.
Yeah, this
Like
multifaceted, you know. Actually, you know, for the listeners out there, I have to give. I've got to give Jake props. We brought out the piano out, the keyboard out earlier, and my man is talented. You know,
Yeah.
he was.
got us on some 8-bit tunes.
Oh
too.
man, he killed the Mario Stage 2 beat.
Yeah.
So send your inquiries for 8-bit beats. He'll get at you.
Hashtag 8-bit beats.
So, you know, again, a multifaceted producer, punisher, and songwriter.
Oh,
Or hook writer.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. You can give you some punchlines too with your puns.
I'll write the next rap god.
But Jay, you got an album up for grabs, don't you?
Yeah, I went back, and this album is 2019. Actually, this artist dropped a lot of stuff in 2019. He's an underground artist, Colombian guy, so it's a nice mix of some Spanish raps with some lyrics and bars. Crime Apple, man. Crime Apple is a dope
name.
guy. His last album, I think, came out in November, December. Was Wet Dirt. Doing
What a name.
a pre-production meeting. I played this album for.
Yeah, we were
Trey
at my
first.
house, right?
Yeah.
So we got to play it on the sound system, and
He vibed to it, so
was
I was
good.
like, "Yay!" I was kind of happy.
much like I say, every time Jay has a recommendation, yo, let it play. Let me listen to it. Okay.
that he did say that.
You know, Jay is the door-to-door salesman of hip-hop, man. Like, he really tries to, but then, he's got this track coming up next. Like, yeah, we're listening to the project. We're listening to the project. We'll get to the song.
I have to give commentary.
And then he'll look over
I
at
know
me.
the
and
song just started, but what do you think?
But, like, much like, he reminds me a lot of a rapper in the mall that's trying to push a mixtape. He's literally pushing, and I'm like, look, man, I've sat down, I've let you put it on. Now, can I sit and enjoy the project that you're trying to sell me on? It's like, yeah, but the next,
But you got to hear that.
the next track though, I think you'll like it too. Well, the next track is next, so we will listen to it in just a second.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, he had some nice bars.
He does.
He gave. I think something Trey and I noticed was how his cadence changes up from song to song. There's a certain flow that he likes to deliver early on, and he switches it up. And I think the second flow that he has later on in his Wet Dirt album is much better than the first kind of flow that he had.
Yeah.
Can you give an impression for those that have not listened?
No, you got to go listen to the album, man. Give that man his plays.
We just give recommendations. We don't reimagine them.
Yeah, so
You can make a killing.
yeah, definitely check out Crime Apple. I feel like he is one of those underground gems from New Jersey that spitting bars, man. And he throws in some Spanish in there and does it very nice. And his subject matter is really good too. So
Yeah. Well, I think it's time to bring the smoke.
bring the smoke. Oh, we got to give something to Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon for sure is about to get some smoke. So he dropped a diss track after his original diss track, and the first one was good. You know, solid production, some good shots. Look, Nick Cannon may be the most underrated overall badass because I really don't know what to call him because he's a talented host. He's a talented producer. He's a talented screenwriter. He's a talented director. He's
MC of Nickelodeon.
You know, he's had his hits, which, you know, you can't take that away from him. We've all kind of, you know, and like I said, we've all kind of danced to Gigolo at one time.
I'm a gigolo. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's Kelly's chorus.
The impression that we needed.
But yeah, you know, but one of the things is while he's a hit maker, he's not the strongest lyricist.
No.
And him going after, like I said at the beginning of the topic we were talking about, Eminem doesn't need any more fuel to bite someone's head off. And especially if you come with a whack diss song,
Then you have to have all those people on it.
Yeah, you're almost asking yourself to come and get, you know, drugged through the village.
Then he had the gall to drop an album.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, beyond Dookie. What's worse than Dookie?
Super Dookie.
Super Dookie. It was super Dookie. It was a steaming pile of dinosaur poop. Steaming pile of Jurassic Park, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Dookie.
That cannonball was a belly flop.
Yeah. Oh yes. I was at the hookah lounge and I played through the tracks and Trey saw my face looking at me and it looked like I just smelled somebody just ripped one.
Yeah. Someone had broke wind, as they say.
Yeah, and Nick Cannon, you misfired.
Uh-oh.
The cannon misfired.
Stinky.
Yeah. Terrible. And it's disappointing that he would. Oh, and he has the gall to even name it the Miseducation. He had the gall to use a top MC's.
Miss Lauryn Hill.
Miss Lauryn Hill's part of her album name and try to promote that album.
Which, you know, here's the thing. He's multifaceted. He's very talented in a lot of ways. You know, he's got Wildin' Out. He's got the Masked Singer. You know, he's got his I think his audio brand that he has. I mean, the man catches multiple bags.
He's got a podcast going.
I mean, this is just an area like why do you need the hip hop check?
Crap.
Yeah. Why? Oh, Jake, I love you, man.
Love you too, buddy.
He doesn't need this. He doesn't need the hip hop bag.
No,
you know he got that. You know, in early 2000s, he got it.
Yeah,
you don't need 2020 bags.
No.
So in the hip hop, he's got plenty.
It's heavy auto tune. It was trying to sound like the new wave. It was just bad, man.
I get it. You know, he has as a man, he has to defend the mother of his children, which is originally how this rap beef started. But I mean, he could, you know, prevent Eminem from playing in, you know, Jimmy Fallon or something. Like he could do boss moves that would be like, yo, you see what Nick Cannon did to him?
He could have done a Wildin' Out skit instead, and it would have been more fire than the music that he produced.
Like I said, I'm always here for the sport of hip hop with beef battles and stuff like that. But a lot of times, like you and I talk about, is this going down in history? Is this no Vaseline? Is this ether?
No.
Is this back to back?
No, man.
So much like
fertilizer.
Much like the position in hip
Super Dookie.
Yeah, Super Dookie. Like I said,
I need sounds, man. I need toilet flushing. I need somebody farting.
just stop, man. Get out of the game. Put the mic down. Stop it. I just don't feel like. Yeah,
man. Stick to tickling balls, man. Want me to tickle your balls, boy? So that's our first Wildin' Out skit that he did.
We're bringing you the classiest podcast.
Yeah,
fart noises and ball tickling.
Boy. Yeah. Anyway, man, I think that. On that note, it's been a great return, guys.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Again, want to give a shout out to Zach on fire extinguisher, making sure that we have everything we need on hand.
Fire Marshall Mathers.
Keep it on deck.
Hey.
Bars.
Yeah. But yeah, Jake, obviously, newest member of the Cocourth Boys.
Yeah, gang.
Gang.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Again, I will keep saying that every single time.
Yeah, gang.
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 So, season 2, like I said, we're going to be bringing more content, looking to another great year of music. A lot of smoke that's going to be brought in this podcast, but at the same time, we're just letting you know we're back for season 2, and we're not going anywhere.
Yo, sir, this is a staple.
Back to back.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, man. So, this is Bring the Smoke signing off, man. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Later, y'all.
I don't like that at all.